Have you ever wondered, how different would life be if you dared to do that one thing? It's not because you're weak that you haven't started. It's because you've gotten used to waiting for a feeling of readiness, a feeling that will never come. Today's story isn't just about a boy, a boulder, or a push. It's about the moment you overcome that first fear, and your entire inner world begins to shift. Watch until the end, because maybe you are the one who needs to hear this the most. Once upon a time, in a small town nestled beside a pine forest in the state of Colorado, there lived a boy named Ethan. He lived in a wooden house with his grandfather, a former bridge engineer who had long since retired. Ethan had long, strong legs from regularly hiking with his grandfather, and a heart full of bold dreams, from becoming an explorer, an engineer, to someone who built structures for humanity. But there was one thing that always held him back. Ethan never dared to begin. He never dared to join the engineering summer camp. Never dared to speak up in class. Never dared to try anything new. Whenever someone encouraged him, he would slowly shake his head and say, "What if I mess up? What if others laugh at me? I'm not ready yet." His classmates liked Ethan. He was kind, polite, and always willing to help when needed. But when alone together, many would often whisper, "He's really smart." But it's like he's always afraid. One Sunday afternoon, when the late sunlight painted the sky red and the rustling of leaves whispered in the wind, Ethan took a walk alone into the forest behind his house, where a small stream flowed windingly and a large boulder stood tall on the hilltop. He simply stood there watching the water flow, while in the distance, the cheerful laughter of kids playing soccer rang out with vitality. Suddenly, a voice from up in the tree called out, "Hey Ethan, you're really tall. But why do you always walk like you're about to bump into everything?" It was Milo, the younger neighbor boy, always energetic and full of mischief. Ethan blushed, awkwardly replying, "I just don't want to break anything." Milo burst into bright laughter. "Or maybe, you're just afraid to try?" Ethan lowered his head, saying nothing. Milo jumped down from the branch, grinning slyly, then pointed up to the hill where the large boulder had lain for generations. "If you push that rock down today, I'll never call you a coward again." Ethan frowned. "That rock is huge. There's no way." Milo winked. "So you're giving up before even trying?" That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He lay on his bed, arms folded behind his head, eyes staring at the ceiling, while that sentence kept echoing, gentle, yet so profound it made his heart tighten. "Why do I even care about what a kid just a few years younger than me says?" he muttered. But deep down, Ethan knew. Milo had accidentally touched something he had always been avoiding, the fear of beginning. The next morning, when the early mist still lightly covered the ground and the sunlight had just begun to peek through the pine branches, Ethan stepped out of the house, his canvas shoes soaked with dew and his heart pounding as if it were about to burst out of his chest. He didn't know exactly what he was doing, only that his feet were carrying him back to the hill behind the forest, where the old boulder lay and the sentence from last night still echoed in his mind. When he arrived, Milo was already sitting on a tree branch, legs dangling, chewing a stick of gum as if this were just another ordinary Sunday. "Let's go, giant," the boy said, winking provocatively. "Show me the legendary push of the future inventor." Ethan swallowed hard. Below, a few neighborhood kids had started to gather, arms holding popcorn, mouths full of curiosity. Some of them pointed their phones at him. Suddenly, Ethan froze. His heart was racing. His mind was filled with familiar questions. What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if that video spreads? What if I slip? But then, another thought broke in. They're watching now. If I walk away, maybe they'll forget me in a few days. But if I try, they might remember me for a lifetime. Ethan lifted his head, took a deep breath as if to swallow the vast sky into his chest. He stepped up to the boulder, bent down, placed both hands on its cool surface, and put every ounce of his strength into a single push. At first, Nothing happened. Not a sound. Only the wind and a few quiet whispers from the crowd. Milo frowned, scratched his head. Guess the rock's too heavy. But then, a faint cracking sound. The boulder shifted slightly. And then, as if awakened from 1,000-year slumber, it began to roll, slowly at first, then faster, the rumbling echoing across the hillside. At the bottom of the slope, it crashed into the stream bank, sending water spraying into the air in a shimmering mist. The crowd fell silent for a few seconds, then cheers erupted like thunder. A young boy jumped up and shouted, "He did it." Milo burst into laughter, clapping loudly and yelling over the roar of applause. "I take back everything I said. You're a legend now, Ethan." Ethan stood there, drenched in sweat, but with a smile on his face, the first real smile he had worn in days. He didn't feel like he had just pushed a rock down a hill. He felt like he had just pushed a long-held fear out of his chest. From that day on, whenever doubt whispered in his mind, Ethan would remember Milo's sharp voice echoing louder than the old fears. "Last time, you gave up before even trying. Don't do that again." In 2025, there are millions of people like Ethan, intelligent, strong, full of potential, but standing still because of fear. They are not afraid of how fierce the world out there is, but afraid of being judged, afraid of the looks from others when they do something different, clumsy, or imperfect. They are not lacking ideas, not lacking ambition. They are just missing a moment to begin. But the truth is, self-doubt will never disappear through thinking. It only disappears through action. None of us are ever truly ready. And if you keep waiting for that moment, you'll wait your whole life. The difference between an ordinary person and someone who creates change doesn't lie in perfection. It lies in the moment they dare to step forward, even when they're unsure. Even when their heart trembles with fear. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need applause from everyone. You don't need to wait until you're full of confidence. You only need to do what Ethan did. Lift your head, gather your strength, and make that first push. What you're pushing isn't just a boulder, it's the limit inside you. And when it starts to roll, you'll be surprised not because the world changed, but because you did. If you've read this far, it's not by accident. Maybe it's time for you to do something you once hesitated to try. Maybe this is the moment for you to stand up, stomp your foot, and begin. Prove that Ethan and you were never quitters. Try something today, not for anyone else, but for yourself. Hit the like button, share this with someone who needs a push, and leave a comment below. What fear are you ready to stomp on? And hey, subscribe to hear more stories that give a voice to your courage.